Okay, we are now going live on YouTube, and I'm letting in the callers, and I'm handing over the meeting to you.
Thank you. I'd like to call the Planning Commission meeting together for March 25th, 2021. Call to order and pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the
United States of
America
and to the
and to the republic
for which
for which
it
it
stands,
stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty and
with
justice for all.
liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And roll call, please. And everybody, if you could please state your location and name when called.
Clark. Oh, Clark.
Sorry.
Wolverine Lake here.
Fredericks. Height.
Wolverine Lake and here.
Linman.
Wolverine Lake here.
Moretto. Nedrow.
Here, Village of Wolverine Lake, Michigan.
Snyder.
Here, Wolverine Lake, Michigan, Oakland County.
Thorne.
Here, Wolverine Lake, Michigan, Oakland County, Michigan, Earth.
Did I miss anyone? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I
And-
motion to excuse Kathy. She previously stated that she was not going to be joining tonight, so.
Support.
Okay, motion by Nedrow. I think that was seconded by Thorne, was it?
Linman, actually, or
No,
Snyder.
Snyder.
Snyder, I'm sorry. All in favor?
Oh, roll
Oh,
call.
I'm sorry, roll call vote, please.
Height.
Yes.
Linman.
Yes.
Nedrow.
Yes.
Snyder.
Yes.
Thorne.
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
Did Fredericks end up joining the meeting? Okay,
I
thank you.
just gave him the password and ID that he had asked me for, so I think he's trying.
Okay.
Okay, any discussion?
Do we have enough people?
Yes.
Yes, motion carries. Okay, thank you. And also, I would love to hear a motion to approve the minutes from February 25th, 2021.
Motion. Thorne.
Second, Clark.
Okay, motion by Thorne, second by Clark. Roll call vote, please.
Linman.
Yes.
Nedrow.
Yes.
Snyder.
Yes.
Thorne.
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
Height.
Yes. Thank you. Motion carries. That brings us to item 6, public hearing, the proposed conditional rezoning from O1 to C1 and special land use requested at 2355 South Commerce. And I would hear a motion to open to the public.
Motion. Thorne.
Can I interrupt for a minute?
Yes.
It might be helpful before we hear from the public, if the applicant were to just do a quick description of what they want to do. I do know that they, after talking with you last time, I think they've made some changes to their proposal. So why don't you let them do that first, and then you can ask the public to weigh in.
Agreed. Thank you, Sally. Gentlemen, if you'd like to go ahead and, kind of bring us up to date with the changes that you made to the plans, that would be fantastic.
Good evening. Hyder with Basel Construction. So what we are doing at this vacant site is going from O1 to C1 special land use. We submitted the plans to open this site as a gas station. We revised the plans from what we originally submitted to 3 dispensers on site from the original 4. And we revised the hours of operation to coincide with the, rest of the neighborhood, which they will be now from 5 a.m. to 11 p.m. And this will be strictly fuel sales and a convenience store only.
Along with the liquor store sales.
Yes.
And can I just do a quick description for everybody at the meeting? The reason for this public hearing. First, it's what we call a conditional rezoning. And it's currently zoned for office. The applicant is asking to rezone it to a commercial use, but they are offering to limit the commercial use to a gas station and convenience store / liquor sales. So that is the reason why it's called a conditional rezoning, because it's conditioned upon this offer of using it just for those purposes. The second topic of the public hearing is liquor sales are conditional land use or special land use in the village. And the ordinance calls them high intensity uses. And it calls for asking residents what they think about that topic. So those are really the two topics of our public hearing tonight, is hearing the public's comment on using this site for a gas station and convenience store. And then secondly, hearing the public's comments on liquor sales at this particular location.
Okay, and Sally, do you think that it would be a good time for the applicant to explain the process of those tanks now, or should we wait until after?
Why wait? Let's hear what residents have to say. And then they also may offer other questions. And I do know that you are going to be reading comments that were provided to the village before the public hearing. So you'll read those comments. And I think there were a couple questions in those written comments as well. So let's hear from residents, and then we'll make notes if there are any questions, and then you can convey those to the applicant at that time after the residents have spoken.
Sounds good. Thank you. Okay, so now we'll hear a motion to open to the public.
I'll motion we open this hearing to the public.
Second.
Lindman,
Okay, motion by Lindeman, second by Thorne. Roll call vote, please.
Nedrow,
Sorry, yes, I'm muted.
Snyder,
Yes.
Thorne,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Height,
Yes.
Littman.
yes.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody in the public that has a comment, please state your name and address before you give us your input. Thank you.
And can I ask the meeting host to remind folks how to raise their hand so that he can unmute them?
Of course. Callers, if you would like to raise your hand to say a comment, please dial *9 into your phone, and then your calls will be answered in the order they are received. Once again, dial *9 to raise your hand. We will start with the number ending in 8811. It looks like you're unmuted. You can address the meeting.
Good evening. My name is George Weber, and I live at 877 Laguna Drive in the village. I am also a trustee for Commerce Township and a member of the Township Planning Commission. However, I'm calling in strictly as a resident, and I am voicing my opposition to the rezoning for the gas station and the party store. Having said that, as a member of the Planning Commission for the Township, I've had a number of opportunities to view and to study the effects of gas stations and party stores and off-premise liquor sales. And trying to be succinct here, there are 4 issues I'd like to comment on to the commission. So the first is a matter of safety. And I'm not sure if the commission's had the opportunity to do a traffic study or not, but putting a gas station / party store at that location, I think has some issues that should be studied. It's obviously around the bend, teeing right into Decker with traffic lights there. Putting a gas station there is, in my opinion, with the amount of traffic that will flow in and out of that, with people trying to dart in, dart out, especially during rush hour, I think could have some significant issues. In addition to that, with this being really one of the higher density areas within the village / Walled Lake, meaning a lot of apartments in that area, a lot of townhomes across the street. This type of store is going to breed a lot of walking traffic trying to get there, particularly if you're going to be providing off-premise liquor sales. So, and obviously there's no crosswalk there as well. That leads into my next point. So the first being safety, the second being noise loitering. Any party store, particularly selling liquor, is going to breed more loitering, more noise, more traffic, headlights, and so forth shining into the area. Secondary associations with off-premise liquor sales. We're going to have more of the taxing on our police department and our fire department. So those, I think, are significant residential concerns. Again, just with the dense population that's going to be there, lots of people are going to be walking there and trying to cross streets at all hours, even if it's limited to 11 p.m. Third point I'd like to make is environmental, and I know you discussed reviewing this later in the meeting, but putting tanks in that area so close to the lake, even if it's fine now, what might happen 10, 20 years from now, I think is much too high a risk to have any kind of below grade fuel tanks in that area. And then the fourth item I'd like to comment on is just competition. We do have some party stores that are not too far from this, less than a mile as the crow flies. And I think adding another party store to this, where some of those are not doing that great financially as it is, just puts more of a burden on businesses that are already part of the village and have been here for some time. So with that, I'll end my comments, and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we will move on to the number ending in 2472. I am sending you a request to unmute. To do that, please dial *6 into your phone. Once again, that is *6. Hello?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, my name is Deborah Melvin. I live at 25 Payne Court, Wolverine Lake. I have been a resident for over 30 years. This site is close to my home, and I agree definitely with George on a lot of his comments, A, for the safety, B, for the environmental. A party store, a liquor store, a gas station, I don't think that's something that we need within the village. We have a lot. I understand that it is a vacant land and it should be put to better use than another gas station or another party store or another liquor store. And I do have concerns over the safety and about the road is a small road there. It's only 2 lanes. And coming in from Walled Lake and hitting there, because I see how South Commerce, you can barely get out to turn left or out of my subdivision. And by having something like this, it's just going to create a lot more traffic on trying to get out of my sub. And I am thoroughly against adding something like this so close to the lake, and for environmental issues and everything else. I don't think we need that. And that's basically what I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on. The number ending in 8549. I'm sending you a request to unmute. To unmute your phone, please dial *6. Once again, that is *6 to unmute.
Hello, my name's Bruce Matt. I live at 2369 Ethel Drive. I'm also the president of Payne Manor Civic Association. George pretty much hit a lot of the topics that I was going to talk about. As of right now, we have plenty of traffic down our street right now, subventing the light. And we do have quite a few smaller kids that are in the road. We're constantly telling people to slow down right now. I feel that if you put more traffic and more cars in that area, that we'll have a greater safety concern. Plus, we'll have a lot of people, I think, at that party store. And my concern too is we have Wolverine Party Store right now. What will we be taking away from that business that's been there for so long? So I expressed pretty much most of what the George was saying. It is a safety issue. There is a lot of traffic, and we do have a lot of noise, which is quite loud right here living this close to Commerce. And I'm in opposition of it, and that's all I have to say right now.
Thank you for your input.
Okay, the number ending in 4889. I am sending you a request to unmute. To unmute your phone, please dial. Oh, all right, you got it.
I'm on it. I've heard you say it a few times now. My name is Amy Frisky. I live at 284 Angola, and I've been a village resident for 10 years now. George hit on every topic I was going to address today. I wholeheartedly agree that safety is a huge concern. The traffic in that area is insane. Just drive over there at 5 o'clock any day, and you can see the huge volume of traffic. Environmental is a high concern, so close to the lake, like he touched on. Competition, also a concern. And then one other point that I know I was reading a forum, people were commenting on a village Facebook page, not official village Facebook page, but people were commenting on this, and somebody raised a point that the owners of this land should be allowed to make their livelihood or do something with this land. And so those of us that were opposed to rezoning should really think about that. Well, from my perspective, the person who bought the property, or the people that bought the property, should have looked into zoning before they bought the property. I'm definitely against rezoning this property. Thank you.
Thank you for your input.
Okay, the number ending in 2484. If you would like to unmute, I'm sending you a request, and you're up.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Yes, my name is Mark Latessa, and I live at 2615 Tampa Drive, and my family has lived there since 1959. And everything George said and the subsequent persons have said, I agree with 100%. The traffic is bad enough now at rush hour. That's just going to make that worse and extend it to non-rush hour times. The village party store has been there since I was a child. It was half that size, and I'd hate to see him go out. He just bought that business, and I'd hate to have him have undue competition. I mean, why do we need 4 liquor stores within a mile of my house? I don't think that's really necessary, is it? It's been a rough time with COVID and everything, and why you would add extra strain to people who have already live in the village and they have their businesses and they're trying to make it. And why would you put undue stress on them by allowing another party store to come in their neighborhood? It's just not fair just on that level. So, so traffic and oversaturation of liquor stores, party stores, I don't really think we need a gas station there. If I can have a septic tank in my backyard, why would you think it would be okay to have, gigantic gasoline reservoirs, tanks right so close to the lake? So that's it. That's all I have to say. I'm in 100% opposition. Thank you for the time.
Thank you for your input.
Okay, the number ending in 2512, I'm sending you a request to unmute. Please dial *6 into your phone to unmute, and you're up.
Hi, my name is Larry Vollmer. I live at 2305 Briar Ridge. My wife and I are 30-year residents of Wolverine Village, and we're in complete opposition for it. The tanks, whether they're enclosed or not, can pose a problem. I've had some experience with that in the past in my previous job. The traffic is terrible there, and that rounding that corner with the light. I've been in time sitting on Decker waiting to go left on South Commerce, and people run that light. The light is not that visible on it, and I've seen people run the light. I also agree. You have 2 gas stations within a mile. You've got liquor stores within that distance, and we're in complete opposition. And I wanted to ask, I guess I missed the public notice. If there was any notice prior to this regarding what was happening. I guess I missed that in the paper. So we're against it, that's all.
Thank you for your input.
Okay, the number ending in 1656, I'm sending you a request to unmute. To unmute your phone, please dial *6, and you're ready to go.
Ready to go. This is, my name's Tom McGann. I live here on 2349 Ethel Drive, Payne Manor. Everyone really has articulated exactly my feeling. I can actually look out my front window and I see that property. It really is the worst location for, party store, gas station. As Bruce mentioned, a lot of cars to try to get around the light. They come zooming down our street to get around. We have a lot of new young families and kids on our street. We have seen increased traffic already, and that's just the worst spot for, high density traffic area, just with the way coming around the corner, Decker dead ends into that location. And I've lived here, over 25 years, but everybody pretty much has articulated everything I wanted to say. The environmental, the safety for our kids, the higher density. We'd have a lot of people, they're just kind of walking to get to the party store, gas station. I don't know about what that would do with the crime, but we definitely would have a lot of people just kind of hanging out. So I don't have to belabor everything that everyone else has said. But for me, it was the safety, the high density, and I forget who mentioned it also, but whoever bought the property, I don't like to see that they, are not going to be able to make money off it, but they should have checked into that before they purchased the property. So basically, that's all I have to say. I'm in total opposition as well.
Thank you for your input.
Okay, it looks like that was the last raised hand. I would like to remind all the callers, if you would like to, oh, it looks like we got a new hand. Okay, the number ending in 3385, I'm sending you a request to unmute. Please dial *6 into your phone to unmute. And you're ready to go.
Thank you very much. My name is Patricia Kramer. I live at 2642 Tampa Drive, Wolverine Lake. I've been here for over 30 years, and I am just calling to let you know that I'm total opposition due to the fact of the traffic and the environment. There are buses that come down there also letting kids off at all the apartments. It would be just an accident waiting to happen. So thank you very much for letting me have this time.
Thank you for your input.
Okay. It looks like that was the last hand at the moment. If you would like to raise your hand and state how you feel, please dial *9 into your phone. Once again, that is *9 in your phone, and your calls will be answered in the order they are received. We do not have any new raised hands at the moment. So I'd just like to say one more time, *9. And I think that is it for the callers.
Okay, thank you very much. I would hear a motion to close to the public.
I'll motion we close the hearing to the public. Lindman?
Okay. motion
Second,
by
Snyder.
Lindman, second by Snyder. Roll call vote, please.
Snyder,
Yes.
Thorne,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Height,
Yes.
Linman,
Yes?
Nedrow,
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Motion carries. That brings us to the Planning Commission's discussion without the public's input. And if anybody has any questions for the applicant. Yes.
If I can interrupt, we
Sure.
cover that on the regular business item.
Oh,
I believe, right?
I'm sorry. Yeah, pending business. Thank you.
And I think
that brings
Sally's got something here too.
Okay, go ahead, Sally.
I think now might be an appropriate time for you to read into the record the written comments that were received.
Correct. Yeah, thank you for the reminder. I got them right here. Have them right here. And basically, since it's a Zoom, the only way to get this into the record is for me to read them. So please bear with me. There are about 4 or 5 letters here, but they're not too long. This one is from Frank Fenton at 2335 South Commerce, Walled Lake, Michigan. He's basically, I am writing this letter in concern to parcel ID EW-1723-352-012. There are a few questions I would like addressed. First, what would be the business sign ordinance? What would the business sign ordinance consist of? And second question is, will this business be a reconstruction of the building or new construction? Which are actually pretty good questions. Because nobody's talked about the sign, and there is the second letter is from Jimmy and Karen Stewart, 231 Solano Drive, Wolverine Lake, Michigan. We are writing to voice our opinion in regards to the proposed rezoning on the corner of South Commerce and Decker. We have lived in the village for over 10 years. Karen and I are raising our 3 lovely children in this community that we love. We had heard that there's going to be a proposal to rezone the property on South Commerce and Decker to a gas station. We urge the Wolverine Planning Commission to reconsider this rezoning. A gas station is nothing but contaminants ruining our environment. Gas and oil seeping into our ground. Also, that lot is too small and the traffic on that corner is already horrendous. Please reconsider. Okay, we have just a couple more here. This is from Richard and Sarah Peterman, 226 Paulette, Wolverine Lake. We are writing to voice our opinion in regards to the proposed rezoning on the corner of South Commerce and Decker. We've lived in the village for over 30 years. South Commerce already has many liquor stores on it. 7-Eleven, Wolverine Lake Party Shop, Penny Lake Grocery, and Walled Lake Marathon. Another liquor store would only bring more traffic and nonsense to our beautiful village. We disagree with the rezoning of the commercial property at this intersection. There is another one here, Dennis and Karen Wisinski, Wisinski at 2244 Paulette, Wolverine Lake. We are writing to voice our opinion in regards to the proposed gas station and liquor store on the corner of South Commerce and Decker. Karen and I have lived in the village for over 40 years. This intersection is very busy, and the fact that it has a huge curve to it is very dangerous. We feel that the gas station will bring more traffic to this already busy intersection and also cause more accidents. We disagree with the rezoning of the commercial property at this intersection. Okay, we have another one from Bill Lang, 114 Ethel Court, Wolverine Lake. We are writing to voice our opinion in regards to the proposed rezoning on the south corner of South Commerce and Decker. I've lived in the village for over 50 years. The street I've lived on, Ethel, comes out on both sides of this proposed rezoning property. I'm opposed to having another gas station near us. The traffic and the lights from the canopy will create a nuisance for our street. We already have 2 gas stations near us. Another gas station is not the right fit for this property. We urge the Wolverine Planning Commission to reconsider this rezoning. And there's one more left. It is a full letter that's been shrunk down, so there is a couple of spots that are tough to read, but it's from the Lang family. Have lived on Ethel Court since 1956 at 2335. I'm sorry, they did not put their address in there, but they are talking about the property at 2355 South Commerce Road. This is a dangerous intersection where Decker Road comes in, multiple accidents. We want to make sure there is an entrance. There's no entrance off Ethel Drive. We don't want commercial traffic in our residential neighborhood. Lots of extra traffic between 2 curves on South Commerce Road is a bad idea. And that's the last of the input by letter.
And then there's the one email from Commerce Township Planner.
Yeah, that just came in today.
Shoot, I do not have that email.
Really long. Can we not read that?
No, we have to read it. We have to read it into the record.
Okay, I'm pulling it up right now. Sorry about that.
It's only about 4 paragraphs.
Okie doke.
Why is commerce important to this? I mean, those other people were from the village.
Excuse me, this is a major part of a public hearing to read into the record. Pardon me?
Yeah, I understand public. I was just wondering I'm just curious. I'm not complaining. I'm just wondering why it is that we would listen to, is that their planning commission that sent that to us? You know, something like that. You know, it's a government entity though.
It's your neighbor who pretty much surrounds your community, so.
Actually, I think we're part of commerce now that I think about it.
Okay, is the letter that we're talking about from Paula Lankford?
Yes.
Okay, I have it here in front of me. From Paula Lankford, Lankford. And
I'm sorry to interrupt. She's actually just forwarding it on. She's a planner at Commerce Township. The planning director, I believe his name is David Campbell.
Yes.
Is the one who drafted the letter to send to the village.
Okay, okie doke. Thank you very much. Yes, blower comments from David Campbell. Commerce Township Planning Director regarding the proposed reconditioning at 2355 South Commerce Road. And here's what he has to say. Commerce Township received the Village of Wolverine Lakes public hearing notice for conditional rezoning that will be considered by the village's Planning Commission on March 25th, 2021. The conditional rezoning petition for a proposed gas station at the northwest corner of Decker and South Commerce Road, whose convenience store will include packaged alcohol sales, presumably beer, wine, and spirits. My comments here relate only to the general considerations attendant to this type of land use approval and do not in any way relate or apply to this applicant. In 2017, Commerce Township amended its zoning ordinance to designate off-premises alcohol sales outlets as a special land use, subject to a series of limitations relative to their local location and operation. The township's motivation to designate the OPASOs as a special land use was a series of 3 conditional rezoning petitions submitted to the township in 2016 for 3 proposed gas stations with alcohol sales, all of which have been in close proximity to one another and to existing OPASOs. The township was concerned with the negative secondary effects of the OPASOs, particularly when concentrated close to one another and when in vicinity of non-compatible land uses or zoning districts. I am attaching section 23.316, the pertinent amendment to Commerce Township's zoning ordinance for consideration by the Village of Wolverine Lakes Planning Commission. We hope a review of section 26.316A, which outlines the negative secondary effects associated with OPASOs, along with the limitations on location and operation contained within section 26.316D, will be useful to the Planning Commission. If there are any questions, representatives of Wolverine Lake are welcome to contact Commerce Township Supervisor Larry Gray and or Planning Director David Campbell. Thank you. And there is a PDF attached. The PDF is, I think, 6 pages. And should we make that available to all the Planning Commission members if they don't already?
Yeah, I think everybody has received that information, but if you could just read the title of the PDF so that the audience knows what it is.
Yes. Charter Township of Commerce, an ordinance to amend Articles 2 and 26 of zoning ordinance 3.000, Charter Township of Commerce, Oakland County, Michigan, to be known as zoning amendment ordinance number 3.033. And if you like, I could read the purpose.
Yes, please.
The purpose of this ordinance is to amend Articles 2 and 26 of the zoning ordinance 3.000, Charter Township of Commerce, Oakland County, Michigan, to provide for the regulation of retailers selling beer, wine, and liquor for consumption off premise. And, basically they're trying to help us out with, having to go through the same issue, it looks like. And, if there's stuff in here that we can use when we review all this, we should definitely take it into consideration.
So Tom, this is Scott. I did finally get into the meeting. I had to reinstall Zoom. Anyway, did I miss much other? Because I heard you reading all that. Did we already make comments, or are we into public comments yet? Or I just wonder where we're at on this issue.
Well, we're close to the public. We're going to address the whole issue amongst ourselves, the planning commission members coming up still. And then
Did we
we'll
hear
also
from
have
the
a,
public?
pardon?
We already heard from the public?
Yes.
I think to keep
All
things
right,
moving
if somebody-
forward, let's fill in Scott afterwards, maybe.
Yes, go ahead,
Right.
Sally.
I was just gonna suggest, I did take notes and I could, Scott, list the concerns that folks had, if that would be helpful.
I
Sure.
just wondered if you could just maybe give me a quick, was anybody for it? Were there a lot of people against it? Just a overall, and then send me that after.
There were 8 people who commented. All 8 were opposed to it. The issues that they stated were safety, and the primary concern is vehicular traffic. The configuration of the site on a corner, folks wanting to get to the party store by foot. There's no crosswalk. There's a great deal of traffic in that vicinity. There's traffic cutting through the neighborhood to avoid the traffic light at that intersection. There's also concerns over loitering, noise, headlights, more pressure on police and fire services. There's environmental concerns about having a gas station so close to the lake, concerns about contamination. And there's concerns about competition with existing stores that are less than a mile away from this property. Of course, COVID and the additional burdens brought on these stores by COVID, this seems to be one additional burden that folks didn't think was needed or necessary. There was also a comment that there are at least 3 other gas stations and liquor stores within a mile of this location. And I believe.
I'm glad you told me all that, because
that's
I would
the
have
gist.
repeated a bunch.
Well, and the last thing I want to say is regarding traffic cutting through the neighborhood. There are kids in the neighborhood, and people are concerned about the children's safety in their neighborhood with additional traffic, and that there's also a school bus that drops kids off in at the apartment buildings. And having additional traffic at this intersection is going to make that also more dangerous.
Okay, I have one more question. Is the applicant in the Zoom meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Sally. Okay, so that basically we
Covered correspondence. Take us to item.
yeah, that brings us to item number 7, correspondence. We have none. Call to the public. We've already done.
No, actually, we haven't, Tom. We had the public hearing. So
Oh, yeah.
we still
So-
need to do the call of the public.
Yes, that's correct. Okay, yeah.
Sally?
That's for items not on the agenda.
Correct.
Okay, so if anybody in the public has something they would like to say for any of the items that are not on the agenda, please state your name and address and keep it under 5 minutes, please.
Mr. Height, this is Tammy, the recording secretary. I don't know if you received the email from Paige about the phone call that she also received from one of the residents opposed to the proposal.
No, I did not hear about that.
That was, looked like first initial was H, last name is SEIT at 2058 Hidden Meadows Drive, number A, called the village, spoke with Paige, and it's stated that they were opposed to the proposal. So just wanted to let you know.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. It's noted. I guess there is no other public comments.
Yes, there's a hand up.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
So I'd just like to remind everyone calling in, please dial *9 if you'd like to raise your hand and make a comment. We have one comment at the moment, the number ending in 2512. I'm asking you to unmute and please dial *6 into your phone, and you're free to ask what you would like.
Yes, this is Larry Vollmer again at 2305 Briar Ridge. Just one comment. There was a swan that was shot, pellets, whatever, last week on Wolverine Lake, and I was just wondering if that had been investigated or if there was any results on it. It's pretty sad when somebody shoots a swan.
Parks and Rec may have something on that, but we at the Planning Commission have not heard anything about that as far as I know.
Well, it's just something you should be aware of. It's pretty serious, but I don't have any answers to it. I just make the comment that you certainly should be aware of that.
Yes, thank you very much for the information. We'll definitely look into that.
Water board might be another good place to talk about that.
Excuse me, actually, I think discharge of a firearm within a residential community is probably a police matter. So I don't know if it's been reported to the police that this has happened, and city council then would be the next board who would deal with something like this.
Agreed. Thank you, Sally. And yeah, agreed. Thank you, Scott. Water board would also be someone that would be concerned. We'll all be concerned. It's terrible. Okay, thank you, sir. Appreciate that. That brings us to new business, item 9. We have none. And that brings us to item 10, pending business, the conditional rezoning of special land use request 2355 South Commerce. It's not been tabled, so we can discuss this as a board, and also the applicants, we could have them address some of the issues that the public is bringing up, such as the safety of the tanks, the walking paths to get to the store, which I'm not sure where that bike path is going to come in exactly. The traffic and the noise, I personally don't know how that's going to create more traffic. I think it's just that the traffic that would be going by there would pull in and out, but that's just my opinion.
Mr. Chair, this is Ziad Al-Baba, the engineer.
Yes.
We would love to respond to some of these comments that we received, that we took notes of those.
Okay.
To begin with, we're not coming into the neighborhoods, forcing them to provide something. It's gonna look really eyesore to the place. We're not going in there just put a tank and a pump and open the business. We're coming in to enhance the site, see whatever the neighbors would like us to do. To begin with, any lighting is not gonna go overshadow the property line. We're maintaining the building in the same location. We're adding trees, shrubs, anything possible to block any lights from the neighbors. We did it on the west side when we provided all this pine trees, so even no lights into the next business place. And of course, our lights behind the building will have zero impact from any lighting from any canopy. So there is no lights coming in. And if we have to provide some sort of a screening to the neighbors, a brick wall, we will provide that on the north side so we can maintain zero exposure of lighting to the neighbors. And also we are installing the new tanks. These tanks, if it was 40 years ago, they were steel tanks. Now they're double fiberglass. They're not, and of course, they have to have a permit from the state and inspection by the state. It's a special permit for that. These should not leak, period. Also, any drainage goes on the site. Of course, we have to deal with engineering. We will provide treatment units. So the water, the storm water, I mean, as we speak, storm water hits the grass and even a car can spill little oil, goes somewhere, but we are going to restrict anything, any storm waters goes on a site to treatment units, so it comes out treated. On top of that, if the township, if the village would like us, would propose a bike path, a sidewalk in front of our property, we are happy to provide that. Even we're happy to provide an 8-foot wide walkway that include a bike path. We're not coming in just to open the station. Both approaches will be controlled. We are going to put curbing, landscaping all around the property, and also we pushed, as a reminder, this used to be a gas station. The current canopy is still there. The canopy is still there, a fuel canopy, and it's coming all the way down to the property line. We're removing that canopy and we're putting a new canopy with at least 20 feet from the property line. We are working with the setbacks, and of course we reduced the pumps from 4 to 3. As far as the liquor store issues, if the village would see this is an issue at this point, we could postpone that issue with the liquor store for another meeting or for future. We can at least apply for the gas station itself, which is, it's only about 1,100 square feet. With, of course, like a corner store, milk and things. And we would love to at least maybe address a beer and wine. We can put the liquor on hold. And of course, someone who's coming in with this development and putting all this money, he's not gonna have loitering trash all over the place. We are providing a dumpster enclosure with the, of course, with the masonry walls, gates. It's gated, it's not open to anybody. And we, of course, we'll provide some safety cameras. Of course, this is not a place we would like to, the owner would like to see someone standing outside and chit-chatting. This is not a corner liquor store somewhere by itself not that great of an area. This is the village, and we are maintaining the safety and the concern of the citizen. We are not coming in just to say, oh, these citizens should not be heard. We love their comments, and we will be working with them to get this project going. See, it's the type of the business people that they invest in properties like this. If we bring a carry-out restaurant, Subway, I mean, it's at 5 o'clock, it's dinner time. Everybody is gonna drive in, which is the rush hour. That's what they call it, the rush hour. The issue is, do we want this business to succeed? I mean, we are assuming we're gonna have a car every minute, every 10 minutes. I mean, that's unheard of, but that would be nice. And we are going to fix the pavement. We are putting curbing with the 10-foot strip green belt at the front. And as I mentioned, if the village would like us to put a sidewalk for the neighbors in front of our property, in front of the property, not 4 feet, not 5-foot sidewalk, we will be happy even to provide 8 foot. So it will be a part of a bike path. We are concerned with the safety with the neighbors. And so we will do our diligence for this one. We understand on the north and the west, there is no walkway. Well, we'll provide that. So it's not something just we're coming in, we're saying, let's not be concerned with the citizens. And I'm just trying to read these comments. Of course, see, this is for the traffic. It's not like someone a mile away is gonna say, okay, I'm gonna go put gas. We're gonna catch the traffic that coming in and coming out from that place, which is, it looks like it's our approaches. It looks like a one-way in, one-way out. So it's like control the traffic only on our side. And that's why, and again, I can emphasize that these tanks, they're not steel. They don't leak anymore. This is 4 years ago. Yes. You know, I understand that one. And there is a strict regulation on these tanks. And of course, the state inspector will be on site during installation. And we'll be happy to answer any question or provide any additional features for the site. Thank you.
Thank you. Very good information, and that can answers a lot of people's concerns, I'm sure. And Sally, please go ahead.
I have to make a correction. I misspoke at the beginning of the public hearing. I stated that the liquor sales were the topic of the special land use. That is incorrect. In the C1 zoning district, liquor sales are a permitted use as long as there's not another high intensity use within 1,000 feet. The special land use for this project is the service station or the gasoline sales. So I apologize. It was correctly noticed. The notice specifically stated what the special land use was, but I just wanted to correct for the record my statements at the beginning of the public hearing. Now, that doesn't mean that all the comments regarding liquor sales are not desirable and needed, but I just wanted to make sure everybody was very clear on what the special land use was.
Okay, thank you, Sally, for clarifying. Does anybody have any specific questions for the applicants?
I had one. This is Scott Fredericks. It sounded to me like this guy's the engineer that's going to build the place and someone else is going to buy it and run it. Is that what I was, that just from what you were saying, that's what I was getting. Am I wrong?
Can you clarify that question?
You were talking about, I'm not going to bring somebody in here and then you were saying, I'm going to build this place to spec. I'm just wondering, are you building this for you or are you just the engineer that's building it for someone else?
We're sorry, we're speaking on behalf of the owner. We're the engineers. We're not the owners. We're not the builders. We speak on behalf of the owner, and that's our comments. Like,
okay,
we do understand there is more issues or more perspectives that the village would like to do, and we will provide them. Of course, unless something unusual, then we'll talk to the owner. So that's what.
So you're an expert at building gas stations.
I'm an engineer.
So
that's an engineer.
Yeah. Oh, I thought maybe I could put some people's worries to rest, almost like you tried to do about the tanks aren't going to leak. I don't think we have that.
We go inspect them.
But yeah, I do understand other people's issues.
We have to, when we provide any information on our drawings, they will be inspected. We will have a permit for that. This meeting is not just for us to get a permit. This to get a site plan approval or a special land use approval. Then we will submit the plans and other officials will review them. We get the permit and they have to be built to the drawings.
Right.
Not something they will do things on their own after that. If there is any changes, we'll go back to the village and present the changes. But it's not.
I don't think this other question matters much, or correction matters much, but I do believe that the existing canopy was for a bank, not for the old gas station. But I don't know, maybe they used the old gas station canopy for the bank, but anyway, not that important because you're replacing that anyway.
Yeah, and also I liked what you guys said about making sure that the lighting does not leave the property, and also how you're going to enhance the property with landscaping, which is shown on the site plan, and how the property is enclosed. There is a path that goes all the way from the park down South Commerce. It comes up through that apartment complex across the street. And I know you can't do anything about what's going on across the street, but as far as for pedestrian traffic, there would be a place for people to cross at that stoplight when the light turns red. And then if you were to put in an 8-foot walk that connected to the bike path, I think that would also answer quite a few of the issues. If nobody has any other questions directly for the applicants, Sally, what do you think would be the best way to proceed?
I think the planning commission needs to discuss the proposal, discuss all the comments that you heard this evening. And just so the audience understands, the planning commission is only a recommending body. They do not make a decision on either of these topics, though that's for village council to make the final decision on both the rezoning and the special land use.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
It is, I'm sorry, 2472, but it is not time for public.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, sorry about that.
Okay, so I mean, I know what I would say if I had to, vote on recommending to council or not right now. I'm not sure if anybody else needs more time to think it over, if there's anybody else that needs more discussion. I think the applicants are trying their best to keep the place, to improve the property instead of an abandoned property with, nobody taking care of it. If it was done right, and it's like, it sounds like they're trying to do, I think that a lot of the concerns the public had are addressed.
One of the ones that, one of
Paul.
the concerns that, that I heard coming up over and over was, regardless of the intent of the owners, I don't know how the sidewalk or some of the other improvements they'd make certainly address some of the lighting and pedestrian issues. But the traffic issues there, particularly on that curve, I don't know what they could do about it. I don't know what kind of design could compel people to behave differently than they currently do in that particular area, particularly when traffic does get heavier. So that's something that's gonna weigh on my mind.
Well, Paul, why do you think that having a gas station with a convenience store is going to increase traffic?
I don't think it would increase traffic. What I think it would do is complicate traffic flow. Currently, you don't have people that are trying to turn in there. If you were heading if you're heading down South Commerce towards Glengarry, currently nobody tries to turn left there. There is a bit of a curve. I think there could be a visibility issue. I'm not saying this is a particularly damning piece, but I don't think you get more traffic. I don't think people are going to come there as opposed to going someplace that's easier to get to. But I think you're going to have people slowing down to turn in there. You're going to have people coming off of Decker trying to make it across there. I don't know that would hurt or hinder, but it would make it a more complex traffic area. That's all I'm saying.
Right. Well, keep in mind that there is already a lane there for a left turn into the station if you're going north, and there also is a lane that they can turn right in. On the other way, the speed limit already goes down to 25 miles an hour on the corner, and there's a stoplight. I mean, I don't know how you could really make it any safer, other than to put in a crosswalk with the, don't walk, do walk, kind of a
don't do the
thing.
bicycle lane thing again. Yeah, that's.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
the bike path that they're proposed is gonna go, I believe, on the gas station side.
Yeah, they'd have to.
Right, and they're gonna put in an 8-foot addition to that that would complement the bike path. So the only little bit of trouble I can see is the people trying to get from across the street. But I think that if there was, if there's already a stoplight there, all they have to do is put in the, the painted white line so that there's a pedestrian crossing. But
Yeah.
the
Can I make a comment on that?
Yeah, there's one
Brandon?
more thing, that the noise level is already extremely high. If you just stand right there on the corner, I invite anyone to just go there. It's the noise just from the cars going by already, with no party store there or not, is extremely high just from the car noise. So I don't see that increasing louder than the traffic either. Go ahead.
Yeah, so the main reason I actually wanted to become part of the planning commission and the local community is to help have a voice for the village, for the people that aren't on the board. And I think today, and through Facebook and this and letters, I think we have a resounding no. The village doesn't want this here. And I think we need to take that into consideration. Otherwise, I feel like we're failing the people that we represent.
Yeah, I understand, Brandon. I mean, we're, like Sally said, we are just a recommending body. We don't make the final decision. We listen to the concerns, and I believe they have valid concerns, but the tank issue with the double fiberglass tanks that are inspected regularly aren't any danger to the lake. They're not going to blow open like the old rusty steel ones that they were put in the 40s and 50s and 60s. The state of Michigan has gas stations all over, next to rivers and everywhere else. If that were happening, you'd read about it in the paper every day, and the bike path and the walks and the stoplight that already exists is a good thing. And the traffic and the noise is already there. So, like I said, it's just something that we all need to hash out and put our input in and recommend. Go ahead, Sally.
I just wanted to comment, adding a new use to a vacant parcel will add traffic. You will get additional cars coming and using that site. So we could look at tables that are generated by traffic engineers to determine an estimated number of visits on an hourly basis, like at a peak hour and also on a daily basis. And we could provide that very general information to you. But I do think with the number of concerns about traffic, that a traffic study would be very helpful. So if the planning commission is at all leaning towards thinking this is a good idea, I think you absolutely should ask the applicant to prepare a traffic study. Now, that said, we're in the time of COVID. The traffic patterns are really different than they would be a year and a half ago. And so a traffic study done at this point in time may say, oh, it's not that bad here. But after COVID's over and everybody's back going to work, it could be very different. So it's a little bit of trepidation that I say you should do a traffic study, because I don't really know what kind of results you're going to get at this point in time. But I do really think the number of comments that identify traffic as an issue, as you said, there's not a lot you can do about background traffic. Well, then that really means you need to think good and hard about this use at this location, because it's just going to make a situation, whatever that existing situation is, it's going to add to it.
Yeah, okay. So you're basically saying there is proof that it would increase traffic.
It will add traffic, yes.
Okay, awesome. Good information. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
A couple comments. First of all, we're in the process of going through our master plan right now, review. I guess the big question in my mind is, we have districts and we've master planned over the years for certain community makeup. And in this district, we have areas around the village that have commercial uses, and those were pre-planned out. This area that we have here, we've got a very small office use, and there's consistent with the office uses across in the Commerce Township and Wall Lake areas. So those hours of operation for those office uses aren't 5:30 in the morning or 5 o'clock in the morning until 11 o'clock at night. They're typically dental offices, maybe an insurance office. So I guess moving forward with a use like this, a commercial use for a longer period of time, kind of goes against our master plan for one thing. It goes against, also goes against the, basically the, I guess the, oh geez, the use of the area, okay? I mean, there's residential use, and the whole reason for that office use was to have a lower impact type of situation for the residential basis around us. So that's a major concern for me. I think it would be great to have something done with that property. If if it was a more of a commercial area of the village, it would probably be a better fit in my mind. But like I said, being an office, master plan and office area, I'm not so sure it's actually the right place in the village for that kind of use and a fit for us. So that's my comments.
Yeah, I kind of agree, and I just wish that and hope that the people that voice their concerns about the tanks, the safety, the traffic, the noise, and the lighting heard the applicant's remedies for those items, because with what they proposed, kind of, I think they were very concerned about the tanks leaking. Like, all the letters talked about the tanks leaking and the lighting of the canopy spilling off into their lots and stuff. If all those concerns that they wrote in about aren't an issue anymore, I agree with Brian. The real issue really only is that a good fit for that parcel? Like Brandon's saying, it's office there because we don't want to pack all kinds of businesses right in next to these residents, and that's why it's zoned that way. So I'm kind of, really don't know what to do, but good points on both sides.
Tom, this is Scott. I'd like to make a comment about the traffic.
Yes.
Because I drove down there after we talked about this, and I saw that left turn lane, and I don't think there's a problem getting in there heading north in that left turn lane. And I saw the little off lane that could maybe even be repaved and maybe a little nicer for going southbound. But I was talking this over with my family, and they said, well, it's not just the cars, it's the people walking. And I know that was brought up, but when I think about that curve and people walking around, I'm taking my boat down there going towards Glengarry, right? And I come around that curve and someone's walking across the walkway, even against the light, whatever. With my boat, I don't think I could stop. And I worry about that's the one spot that worries me.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, it's not. It's not 25 on South Commerce there.
It's 40, but there's a big corner
say,
sign that says 25. Yeah.
Oh, right. That's not a speed limit. That's a suggested, right. I agree. But the other thing I was going to say is a lot of people are talking about traffic, and that has changed because there wasn't a light there. It's only been there a few years.
Right. Before the light, it was.
I mean, I'm kind of on both sides of the traffic. But I would say that when you say all the people's concerns are alleviated, I think you missed a bunch.
No,
because
I didn't say they were all.
They were talking about other liquor stores.
Can you let him speak?
Sorry,
Don't
go ahead.
argue, just let him. I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm sorry to be so bossy, but there's been a lot of back and forth. I think you need to let each commissioner say his piece.
Thank you.
Agreed. Go ahead, Scott. Sorry.
So what I was gonna say is these other concerns that I still think, and I don't even think we can come up with a solution to these, like the fact that there's a liquor store up at the corner, you know, at Oakley Park. It isn't 7-Eleven a liquor store? I think it is. And then at the other end of South Commerce, there's Marathon that is a liquor store, and also Penny Lake Market right there is a liquor store. So I do agree that there's a lot of liquor stores in the area, and I didn't hear anyone say, "Oh, thank God, we're getting another liquor store. We have to drive too far for liquor." So I didn't hear any of that. I did hear too much liquor and worried about people hanging around there. And I understand that you can kick people out. I don't think that's as much of a worry, but the number of liquor stores and gas stations, same thing. There's a lot of gas stations around, and I know that that people at those places are concerned that putting in another gas station and liquor store would lower their, already strained due to COVID, margins. So that's maybe there was a couple other things that Sally said that haven't been addressed yet that maybe someone else would like to bring up, but I can't think of them off the top of my head. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Scott.
This is Brian Lindman. One other concern I have is the pocket zoning that this would provide, since we have no other commercial in the area. We've got the office, we've got the residential, and then we'd have just one tiny parcel here that would be commercial. And pocket zoning is something in the master planning process we're definitely trying to avoid, and we would be consciously doing this and kind of establishing that precedent. So that's one other concern I would like to raise.
Okay, thank you, Brian. Is there anybody else that would like to speak concerning the matter?
The only other thing I'd like to suggest that we consider is that, if I'm not mistaken, across the street directly from this location is Walled Lake. So anything that we do here would affect our neighbor just right across the street. So that might be something we'd want to reach out, even though I understand we don't have a legal requirement, or I don't think we have a legal requirement to consider, but sure wouldn't be a bad idea.
I believe they were noticed on it also, Paul.
Were they? Okay.
Anybody within 300 feet of the property would have been noticed on it.
Okay. All
So,
right.
yeah. I guess one other comment for me is I know there's a number of people here tonight that were in opposition of it. And generally people might not call in favor of it, but there wasn't even one person at this point from the public that called in favor of this use change. So
Yeah, those are the people we represent.
Yeah, and I'm with you guys on that. But the problem is that everybody that was opposing didn't know about the new double fiberglass tanks, and that the light wasn't going to spill off the property, and all those things. So I agree. If nobody wants it there, I'm all with you guys. Then let's not have it. But the things that they made up the 5 main concerns, and like you said, Scott, they're not all taken care of. I didn't say they're all taken care of, but I mean, they did address those items in a responsible manner. And I think the big concerns that, like the leaking tanks and all that stuff like that, they have tried to tackle. But I'm not going to try and push it one way or another. I'm just one person with my opinion. And, I'm just trying to represent both sides.
I think another concern is not just the pollution or the possibility of it leaking. And Ziad, that's you know, he did bring it up, and it's the fact that cars tend to leave gasoline. I mean, if there's a gas spill, right? If you're pumping gas, it spills, or oil comes out of the car, antifreeze. I'm glad he brought up the point that it would go to a treatment thing before going into wastewater runoff. But another thing that we have to consider with adding a commercial spot is litter, is garbage. And every business can do their best to prevent it. But I love our village. I love that we take care of things. I love that we have a clean village to live in. And that's something that I think people are probably concerned with too, is, you know, that kind of a situation. And I know we brought it up on the last meeting, and this might not be a big concern for people, but when it comes to the financing of mortgages in the future, we did look at any home that's within 300 feet of this place, of the property line, would be ineligible for government-backed FHA financing. And that's something that we have to take into consideration too for future homeowners as well as current.
Agreed.
And something that affects Walled Lake.
It does affect Walled Lake, and I was skimming over some of this ordinance that Walled Lake sent over, or I'm sorry, that Commerce sent over to us. And it's pretty close to some of these things, like when it comes to the liquor sales, you know, liquor sales cannot be within 1 mile of each other. It's borderline then, right? And it's borderline to it's about 1,000 feet away from the church. Their thing says 500 feet. So yes, I know there's cutoffs for a reason, but it's very borderline on some of these limits that are given. So just things to take into consideration when we're working with our neighbors.
Agreed. And, you know, everybody said that they wish we would reconsider, but no, it sure would have been nice if there could have been some suggestions as to reconsider to what, you know, what can this piece of land become, you know?
It'd be great to see something there other than an empty building.
Yes.
Hey, Tom, before we beat this to death, can we take a straw poll and see if we're anywhere near being able to make a motion on this?
Sure.
Well, I think we just make a motion. I mean.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I don't know what a straw poll is going to tell you. Go ahead, Sally.
If you, I think there are 2 motions to call for here. One is for the proposed rezoning, and depending on what your motion is for the proposed rezoning, that will tell you if you need a second motion for the gas station, the fuel pumps.
Okay.
Special land use.
Special land use, right.
So if the rezoning motion carried, then we would have to go into the special land use motion.
No, you're only making a recommendation. Yeah, so
Right.
you'll be making a recommendation to the village council. And if you were to recommend approval of the rezoning, then you would go on to do a second motion regarding the gas pumps, the special land use and the gas pumps.
Gotcha.
If you were to recommend denial of the rezoning, then there really is no point in doing a second motion on the gas pumps.
Agreed.
So how do we do that? Do we say we recommend rezoning and then vote it down? Or do we say we don't recommend rezoning and vote for it? Or the opposite, depending on where you're at? I mean, what's the best way to go about that with creating a motion?
Well, in my opinion, I believe it's best to have a very clear record of the decision and why the decision was made, rather than trying to backdoor it and you know, make a motion that you think is going to fail. So that would be my opinion.
Yes, basically we would want to propose a motion of all the planning members that are for the rezoning and then do a roll call vote.
Yes, that's correct. It should be done in a positive. The motion's made in a positive. Just wanted to give my 2 cents.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, or you could do it in a denial basis based upon those reasons. I think you want to be solid on either reasons for or reasons against.
Hi, this is the engineer. If we will help, we could table it right now and provide more information, more perspective to the site. We would like to come in, at least have some perspective or some at least hope that it's gonna be recommended for approval. We like I mentioned, we have proposed additional things to the site. If there's any additional perspectives, it can help us to at least get some blessing. We would love to table it and address new issues if possible.
Sally, did you have a hand up?
I was just going to say, whatever motion you make, however you make it, you do need to include what are called findings of fact. So you will need to list the reasons why you're making this motion. So, and I have, I have a bunch of things here that could be part of your findings of fact, like the amount of traffic, the configuration of the site on a curve and limited site distances, inconsistency with the master plan, potential environmental ramifications, the number of existing gas stations and liquor stores within close proximity. So you're going to need, and whether you use those or not, that's neither here nor there. You just need to have very specific facts that support your motion, whatever it is.
Okay.
Would we be able to have an additional, for instance, if it were tabled and new information was made available through the engineering firm, would we be able to have a follow-up public hearing so that the folks that have shown up here tonight would get a chance to see whether or not the new recommendations had a chance to change their minds? Would we be able to have another public hearing?
You can have another public hearing. It depends on what the information, how different the information is to require one. But I think I certainly would recommend one. I think that would be absolutely appropriate.
And also, if there was a rendering that showed the landscaping and how the site is enclosed and not a huge eyesore with the bike path and all that other stuff, and if it was actually an improvement to the area and safe, then maybe, everyone wouldn't be so opposed to it. But at the same time, I understand what you're saying. It doesn't fit our master plan. And there are other stores and gas stations nearby, and the environmental concerns and the bad site distance and the traffic and all that stuff too.
I would just, and you guys can, obviously make your decision, but there are two ways of looking at that. One is it might be easier to kick the can down the road to the next month, but you are asking the applicant to spend additional time and money to prepare information when, if you think you can make a decision tonight, it would behoove them to at least know what you're thinking and get a clear indication from the board. The other thing to remember too is that if you were to make a recommendation tonight, it is a recommendation to the village council. They will be making the final decision. They may not agree with you. So that's the other thing.
Are you saying that we have to make a recommendation? We can't just say we don't want to recommend it?
You have to make a recommendation. Yes.
That's what okay.
One way or the other.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, so what you're saying is, can I attempt to make this motion? And if we're not ready to vote on it, that's fine. But that way I can just state it because of the way I feel about it right now. Is that okay with you, Tom?
This is Zia, the engineer. Can I just make a little comment?
Sure.
I'd rather you didn't. I mean, we're kind of to the point where we've heard a lot of this, and I just don't want to rehash it. I mean, I'm sorry to tell you this, but the way I feel, I don't think this ever has a chance of passing, which it's not necessarily me that thinks that it shouldn't pass, but the people that I represent don't think it should pass. But that's just my opinion. I'm one guy, but I just think I would like to try to make a motion and see where it goes. And I understand why you don't want us to make the motion because I think you think we're about to vote you down, except for maybe Tom.
You have to forgive me. I'm just bringing new information, not repeating the old information. I mean, we are really texting back and forth with the owner. He wants to review these comments, and he may go on the gas station and the store and put this liquor issue on hold, or he may just apply, forget the gas station, or just apply for only a store with liquor in it. So that will give us some time to review it with the owner and see what we can present and revise the plans to suit that perspective.
So Sally, if we said we don't the council, we don't recommend you, and they follow our recommendation, and these guys come back and say, we want to do something totally different, they can come before us again, right? Or is there a fee for that?
Well, they'll have to start over, but yes, they certainly can come back. But if either of those uses is denied, I do believe there's a time frame within which they can't ask for the same thing again, even though if it's slightly different configuration.
So in deference to what you'd mentioned before, Sally, about them, if we made a motion to defer our recommendation at this time because the engineering firm has requested the opportunity to alter the plan to where it would be more acceptable. Is that, I mean, in my mind, that's not taxing them since they'd requested it. And it gives the opportunity for everybody to see what new items they think they can bring to bear on this particular issue. Now they know that there's a master plan zoning issue. They know what the concerns of the community are. I know it can feel like kicking the can down the road, but I consider this engineering firm has already invested considerable time and effort. If they want to put in another month to see what they can do, I'm not totally opposed to that. In difference to what Scott's saying, I understand it does to me feel like we're kicking it down the road a little bit, but COVID's happening. I got nowhere to go from now. So if we look at this a month from now, we can look at it a month from now.
You certainly can do that.
Okay.
Well, here's why I'm saying what I'm saying, in that anything that I think we would allow them to put there with all the comments that have been made, and this is just my opinion right now, that they wouldn't need to rezone, because I don't think we're going to allow a commercial use there because of pocket zoning for one, and because of just I think people traffic, not necessarily the car traffic, although that could be an issue, but I think that's something they could mitigate. But the people traffic going across that road right there, can you imagine if somebody got killed, how we would feel? So I just don't think we're going to be able to rezone that thing to commercial. And that's why I'm saying don't kick it down the road. Because if they can come up with a use with office, they don't even got to talk to us.
Do you think that the people would be opposed if there was no gas?
I think they would be, am I still talking? Yeah, I think they would be opposed to any, what do you call it, retail site there, where you're going to have people showing up to buy things because of the traffic, because of the people traffic, and because of the car traffic. They're going to be opposed to it, even if we believe they could mitigate that. But then there's, I mean, depending on what kind of business it is, there's parking issues and things like that that might make traffic worse. I know I've seen up at Mobile, people driving through there like it's a shortcut or something. I'm not saying that's going to happen or they can't mitigate that in some way. I'm just saying that I don't think that anybody in the area is going to be happy about a commercial use there. So I mean, if I was voting right now, I would have to vote no, even though I I would love to see something there. And, you know, maybe not a gas station, maybe not a liquor store. I mean, I was even thinking a store would be nice until I heard all about the people traffic and people walking across South Commerce. So, I mean, I just pretty much stated the reasons I'd put in my motion right now to recommend that they deny. But I'd like to hear what other people say.
Yeah, I mean, it having a crosswalk at a stoplight, somebody could get hit anywhere. I mean, I don't know why that's more of a concern at that intersection than up at the high school where the 7-Eleven is or any other intersection, but.
If I could answer that?
Sure.
It's because when you're coming down Decker and you come there, I would say that 90% of the traffic turns right. No one's going straight now, of course, but I mean, maybe we could make it go straight through into the gas station, but you know, you've got people from Walled Lake that big residential area right across there. They're going to be, you know, hey, I need cigarettes. They're going to walk across that street and people are coming south and they don't see them until they make the corner. And yeah, I know they're only supposed to move on the green and we're only supposed to move on the green. I just agree with everybody that it's too heavy of a use for that corner. That's just my opinion. Well, it's not really my opinion as much as it is the opinion of everybody that talks to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even ask them. They just come to me.
I think if we're gonna push it down for another month or whatever, I think a couple things have to be done. Obviously, a traffic survey, right? We got to see what kind of and Sally's right. I mean, during COVID, traffic is probably down, what, 30%? I don't know the study, but we need a traffic study. And I would love to see an architectural design. I'd love to see how you plan on managing the traffic flow, the people flow, the lighting. I want to see, I know it's going to cost you money. I know it's going to cost you time. But if you're going to win over the village's support, and I don't mean us, I mean the people that we're representing, if you're going to win them over, they need to be able to visualize this. And they need to understand what you're trying to do. I get it. Fuel tanks nowadays are double fiberglass and things like that, and they're safety precautions, state certified. I get it, right?
Brandon?
Everybody has a what if feeling, and everybody's worried about our village somehow being ruined. And that's what everybody wants to preserve.
Can I say something to Brandon? You just said that you know, you'd like to see this, you know, it's going to cost these people some more money to do that. What I don't want to do is tell them to do that when I know that it's never going to pass. I'm not saying that I know that. I'm just saying I don't.
It's not up to us. It's up to the village council, who the entire village can come through and express their feelings when it's up to that vote. I'm just saying, if this gentleman, if this company and these people want to have the best chances of getting this done, we need to exhaust everything. And they need to show us as a village how it's not going to pollute the water, how it's not going to have somebody get killed in the crosswalk, how it's not going to cause traffic, and how it's going to be a benefit to our village, not a liability.
Yeah, well said, Brandon.
So yeah, I mean, I would vote that we can push it to another month, or if you need 2 months to get this done. I know it's a big task to do a traffic study and architectural drawings and then renderings. How much time do you think you would need to do that?
If I should answer that question, in the package that we submitted, we did submit the existing floors, the elevation, and we submitted the proposed floors and the elevation, what they look like. And on top of that, we did provide landscaping plan, photometric for the lighting, erosion, which is to protect the neighbors from any dirt coming out of there. We have provided details for the curbing. We have put more concerns, not just to present a sketch. And as you can see, we are aware what would, if we get the approval, what we have to submit for permitting. Not just let's say what the village would like us to do. We did provide information about the lighting, about the canopy lighting, and the spot lighting throughout the whole site and the neighbor. We can assure you, just behind the building, to the neighbors, it's a zero lighting. There is no impact on the neighbors. And if we have to add additional information as you specified, we will do so. But we're trying to give the owner a chance to see if what we can do, what we can change from the use purpose.
So how much time would you need to do?
Oh, well, we can provide, it's just an issue with the traffic. We would love to be on a second meeting. We will find somebody. See, the issue is there is the records also of the intersection. That's what they go for. They go by. And as I mentioned, if you see the site, we're trying to catch just our side of the traffic. Is the way the approaches are made. We're not trying to increase traffic. It's in a rush hour. There's gas station around us. Somebody's not going to drive all the way just to go to our station. I mean, there's nothing special about this place. It doesn't have it doesn't have like a Subway place or Tim Horton or anything that people would like to consider that corner. But we do have, at minimum use in this place. And we took notes, and of course, planning will send us notes or comments, and we will go through them. And then it's not like something we wanna ignore, but if we have to make changes, we will put our, explanation to anything.
Can I ask you one more question?
Yes, sir.
If this does get denied, what are your plans with it?
I'm sorry?
If this does get denied, what would be your plans or your owner's plans?
I don't know. We have to take the information to the owner and explain to him what's happening. But we don't know at this point. We are making perspectives. Is it a gas station only with a corner store? Is it a liquor store only? I am not sure which one is in the perspective of, it'll be a hardship. So that's why we will discuss it with the owner and see what he say from the information we received.
Were we to consider any changes you might make, and this is kind of to Brian too, and anybody else that would control our website, would it be possible to post these changes so that the members in the community can see what kind of mitigation had taken place to address their concerns? Because other than them being able to see and be convinced that what you're doing helps their concerns, we're going to come back to the same point next time, and they aren't going to have seen anything different than what they've seen so far. Now, I understand engineering drawings and stuff like that are proprietary, how you might want to handle that. But yeah, Sally, sorry.
Any materials that are submitted to the village is public information. So all of it can be posted on the village's website, and anybody who wants to look at any plans or anything like that can. I do believe the village has electronic copies, as well as you can go visit and see it in person.
Yeah, but yeah, right now it's tough on the village offices because it's by appointment only for COVID, at least for now. So I'm sure they wouldn't be anxious to have 60 or 70 people wanting to come and look at plans right now in there. But if they're posted online, then that option is there for people.
And I think in architectural, not everybody in the village is an engineer, can read an elevation plan. So I think if we did, once again, I know it might cost some extra money, but to have an actual architectural drawing and maybe 3D rendering, showing the lights, showing the landscape, showing the traffic, would really benefit people's vision on this and possibly understanding. I really just want to give you the best chances to get this done and try to win over the village.
I guess my concern on the whole situation on this is whatever they're going to be able to do to try to justify putting a commercial use there. Is it really going to change what's there? If they put a gas station or a convenience store there, we're still talking a higher impact use than the office use that is master plan there. So I guess that's my concern. Are we kicking it down the road for failure, or is there a better suited use for that property than
And
what?
I think that should be the discussion you should have. I don't think you should be concentrating on the site plan and all the, other, the things that can be mitigated. For instance, lighting can be mitigated.
Right.
But the things that cannot be mitigated are the configuration of the site, the way the traffic flows through the site, the existing traffic situation, the fact that it's on a corner, and there's sight distance issues, and then attracting pedestrians without appropriate pedestrian facilities. Those things the applicant's not really going to be able to do much about. So those are the things you need, that's what you need to talk about. You need to talk about the use and just how far the applicant has control over some of these issues.
So Sally, that brings me back to what I was saying about a half hour ago. Can we have a straw poll about whether anybody thinks that will ever
Scott, make a motion. Scott, make a
Okay,
motion.
well, I don't want to make them. Okay, well, then the motion's a lot longer, because the motion is that I would recommend to council to deny this applicant's rezoning, and therefore no need for special use. And for the reasons that we talked about, the traffic situation, the pedestrian traffic situation, the nearby liquor stores, the nearby gas stations, and the fact that nobody in the area seems to be for it, such as was the case when we tried to make something else before. So that would be my recommendation, that we recommend that the council deny that.
You also need to include the limited site distance and the non-conformity to the master plan and the environmental issues.
Thank you.
And on that note,
please include those.
Oh, so that is the motion.
Discussion?
We have a motion on the table.
Need a second.
Yeah, we have the motion on the table by Fredericks. Do I have a second? Okay, second by Thorne.
We
Okay,
usually
roll
have a
call.
discussion before we take the roll call.
Okay,
Yeah.
discussion. Discussion,
Does anybody disagree with the motion? I mean, they can say that when they vote against it, but I'd like to hear reasons. Because the master plan was a big one.
I personally am in agreement with the motion because of the fact I believe that it's a higher impact use in the area and non-consistent with the master plan. Like I said earlier, and I've said a couple times, I'd like to see something done with that property, but I don't believe that this is the correct fit for that particular piece of property at this time. So that's my comments.
does anybody have a suggestion for the engineers to take back to the property owner as to what could be built there? Could that building be developed as an office building and then rent out the offices? Any ideas?
Well, the thing is it's not up to us to tell him what to do with his property,
Right.
especially if it doesn't need a rezoning to do it. I mean,
course,
I
but
could
I
probably
mean,
come
it'd
up
be
with a
nice to-
few ideas, but how do I know that'll make money for him? An eyeglasses place or something, I don't.
Yeah, I mean,
I do believe the discussion needs to be based
About
on
the motion.
to discuss the motion. So
okay. Any more discussion?
Well, it does look like the headwinds are against this place being situated the way that they'd like it to at this point, with the traffic and the other environmental concerns and the pedestrian issues. So
They can go to the council and make their argument there as well.
Yes,
Because
they
it's not
can.
up, but we're just making a motion to for suggest.
True. I agree.
Ready for roll call?
Any more discussion? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Lindman,
Yes.
Nedrow,
Yes.
Snyder,
Yes.
Thorne,
Just to be clear, this is to say yes, that we're motioning against it.
that's
Yeah.
correct.
Yes.
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Fredericks,
Yes.
Height,
Yes. That's everybody. Okay, motion carries. Thank everybody for the input. I know it was tough. That will bring us to old table business, item 11A, master plan update. Hear a motion to take it off the table.
I'll motion to take the old tabled business master plan update off the table.
Alrighty, motion by Lindman, second
Second.
by Fredericks.
Yes.
Okay, roll call vote, please.
Snyder,
Yes.
Thorne,
Sorry, I was muted. Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Fredericks,
Yes.
Height,
Yes.
Lindman,
Yes.
Nedrow,
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Motion carries. Sally has prepared a packet here, explaining what was done to the master plan. And I guess you could take it away, Sally, if you have some things you'd like to say.
Okay, I'll try not to belabor this. There are two documents that you received in relationship to the master plan. One is the draft of the document with revisions just to the background studies portion. That's essentially the description of the village and you know, what the village is all about, all the different land uses, and park facilities, not all park facilities, a very minor description of parks, but of the role that the lake plays, demographics, all that type of thing. So we essentially updated this draft all the way through page, and I'm trying to locate it here.
35, right?
It was, yes, thank you. All the way through, actually, it's number 27, but I think there are 35 pages in the PDF. So, yeah, so these are both amendments that I was able to research and locate, as well as comments made from some planning commissioners. And this is really the basis for the next step, which is our public input. And I did come up with a draft online survey. I tried not to make it too long or arduous, as I don't believe there you know, a lot of issues that you all are wanting to investigate. That may be incorrect. You may have additional issues, and we'll certainly talk about that this evening. But the two that I was able to discern from, you know, updating the background studies and seeing some issues that the village has been dealing with over the last 3 or 4 years. One was future land use designations along Glengarry. And that includes a kind of a mixture of residential and commercial, and really gathering businesses and organizations in those. I think there's only about 10 lots, not very many lots at all. But there have been a number of questions as to, excuse me, a number of questions about uses along in those areas designated for office. And so I came up with some questions as to what people might think might be appropriate there if office use isn't necessarily appropriate. And I do have some ideas as to suggestions to make, but we do need to hear from folks from the public, Wolverine Lake residents, about what they think might be appropriate there. And then the second category essentially are questions about the lake and the lake water quality and how much effort is done by the village every year to help kind of mitigate the issue of too much phosphorus in the water, and where that's coming from and how that might be able to be minimized by people coming together and doing things a little differently on their property. So those are the documents, and I'm happy to take comments on either, and we can start with the master plan draft and then go to the survey, or however you'd like to do it.
Well, you just spoke about the survey. If I could make a quick comment about the phosphorus in the lake. I know they keep talking about a SAD, or maybe they even have one, a special assessment district. And maybe that's something that should be mentioned in the survey.
Okay.
Well, I think that's actually a hookup SAD, Scott, and we've been talking about, we have those on a regular basis as far as the sewers. But, you know, I think the water board is on board right now to really try to increase the amount of hookups and sewage increasing, you know, hooking up to the sewers around the lake. That's been a big push. So, I mean, putting an SAD on the survey is okay, but I don't know if that's necessarily going to serve it that well.
And I want, can I just say real quick, Scott, the reason I didn't include contaminants from septic systems and the whole big issue about sanitary sewer is that I felt that the village had been really addressing that consistently over the last 5 years, and that there's been a lot of conversation and some good advancements in that area. And so I didn't really think it was a question. I think the village is very committed to getting that sewer to as many homes as possible. And so that's why I didn't include it in the survey.
Agreed.
Okay, I can agree with that.
Yeah,
no, I think the survey was very well done. I think, you know, it solves a couple of the concerns that we've had around the area. So
yeah, perfect timing.
Pass those out.
And that's something that could easily be done online. So
right, that's what we'll
you're
do.
talking about. You haven't sent it out yet. Okay.
Oh no. This is a draft for you guys to review and to tell me if you want me to make any changes or.
And Mr. Nedrow's already seen it. That's what he's talking, because when he started talking about seeing it, I'm going, well, I haven't seen it. That's okay. You probably sent it out and I just didn't read it.
It was in the packet, Scott. So that's why my comments are.
Oh, yeah. Now I read.
Very well done. I think it was well done, and I think that would definitely serve what we're looking at trying to get some comment on. So,
yeah, for sure.
Agreed. I think it's exceptionally well done, and surveys are really powerful and a great way to get input.
And actually, there was Parks and Rec sent a survey out with their master plan update, and they got quite a few respondents back. So I would hope that you know, we would get the same based upon something short and sweet. And
well, that's great.
Master plan, part of our master plan?
No, they're recreational master plan. Yeah. Oh, we refer to it.
So do we have to wait for them to be done to complete ours?
No.
Okay.
No. The recreational master plan is an amendment to we include that as an amendment to our master plan.
Okay.
And that
Thanks
was that's done.
That's done already. Yeah.
Yeah, that was done and sent to the DNR, and they approved it. So
I believe that was done last year.
Yeah. Okay, well, great. Well, yes, this will be an online survey. And what I was going to ask is, we put it in a program called SOGO survey. So it will look a little different from what I presented to you here, but we could use the paper copy in case anybody at the village would like a paper copy. It's always nice to have a paper copy because not everybody's online. And the one thing I wanted to ask you is that if you are in any kind of social media group that's kind of village based, pushing out an announcement for the survey would help in getting responses. So I do know that I think the village has a listserv, and we certainly can ask the village to advertise the survey through the listserv. I believe you all also have an electronic newsletter.
Question.
We might
If
be
you push it out, if you push it out through social media, how does it get returned? We return it?
No, we're just announcing, just the announcement would go out through social media, and then a
Or not
person
the actual
would,
survey?
no, then a person would go to the website and get the survey to the link, go to the website to get the link, and then the link would take them to the online survey.
And also we
And we accept surveys from anybody?
Well, we
I'm
will
sorry, we
ask,
accept surveys from anybody?
we'll
Or is it
ask-
only residents?
we'll ask people to identify themselves and whether or not they're a resident, so we'll know. The other thing we can do with online surveys is limit responses per IP address. So, essentially it'd be one response per household.
I don't think we have a problem of getting too much responses.
I don't either.
All right.
Well, I know the village has a Facebook page. I know the spring newsletter is going to be coming out very shortly. So it would be prudent to get that information into the newsletter.
Okay.
There's
also a Wixom, Walled Lake, all the areas around here, Facebook page as well.
I'm sure the Spinal Column could make notice of it in an article about the village or whatever.
Okay.
And then also there's that neighborhood Facebook page, correct? So
Yeah, that's the only one I know of. What were you talking about?
The village has a Facebook page, and also there's a neighborhood Facebook page for like Wolverine, and I think a lot of Commerce residents are on it also.
Called Next Door.
Next door, yeah.
And does Tabitha know about this?
Yeah, I believe
Okay.
Tabitha does. Tabitha and Paige probably both.
Okay,
So
excellent. All right, well, we'll use those sources and we'll get it set up.
I think that's great. As far as the regular master plan text wise, I know I sent you a fair amount of information. I
Thank
don't know.
you.
Yeah,
Thank
it was
you.
probably ugly trying to decipher some of it, but
No,
no, I think all the rest of it was pretty well done. And you picked, the one question I did have, and that was going about as far as the census information that's going to be coming forward from the U.S. Census. I believe a lot of that information is not going to be available until, what is it, September?
or later.
Or later, but there is some preliminary data that you are going to be utilizing, and right? Is that correct, Sally?
I certainly can. Now, we get our data from SEMCOG. SEMCOG, the census data, while some of it, the very basic stuff, they post on their website, and it's fairly straightforward. But quite a few of the items that we report in the master plan, SEMCOG has actually kind of done a big amalgamation of the data and has created some of that information. So we're not going to be able to, the 2020 census data is going to be sparse. in this master plan draft.
But there
I
is
don't-
other census data or information, basically like from the school board and stuff that you've been able to update since our.
Yes, I did
2015,
update
16.
everything I could, yeah, and there
Right.
is, SEMCOG does have estimates that, I've indicated if I've used those estimates.
Right.
So we'll just have to see, when the information is available.
Well, I think it's probably, I would hope that we're gonna have this master plan updated prior to that happening. So,
Agreed.
we'll utilize as much as we can in it at this point, and, maybe even mention some projections if we have to, but, and note it as that, but, I'd like to keep moving forward with that because we've got some properties that could be, affected by how we move forward with the master plan, so.
Okay.
But we're not ready to finish that anyway. The next step is to approve this survey. Do you need a motion?
No, probably
ready?
not.
I think we have consensus on it pretty much.
Yeah, it looks good.
Unless
Brian,
Paul and Brandon, and Jim, do you guys have any changes that you'd like to see, or?
Nope, I'm good.
Brian,
good.
Sally had mentioned that there were some photos that may need to be updated. I'm not sure if anybody knows what those are.
It just might be nice to have a new cover photo.
Oh.
I think a lot of the photos are still, they certainly do illustrate the text that they're near. But if you see anything in there that you think, is really
Yeah.
out of date or that, and.
Well, that's a great, yeah.
You can
That's a great
also,
idea.
Do we have pictures of the board, people in the boards, like at least the council?
no, we don't include those in the master plan.
Yeah. Because one with them in a Zoom box, all of them in Zoom boxes, that would probably be appropriate if there was one. So,
Oh,
okay,
that's
so
a
we don't
good
need a
thing.
motion for that because it's our prerogative to put out the survey.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's
I'm
a
good with
good
that.
suggestion, Sally. I can just go through this and look for any areas that don't have a photo or look for anything that seems to need an update. So I'll take care of that on my own.
That's awesome, Tom, because you have such a good visual, encyclopedia in your head.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, I mean, we don't have to limit it to what we have on for pictures. You can actually incorporate a couple more.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, shoot some
Same.
new ones and,
Yeah.
submit them and put them in where needed,
Sure.
Yep.
Okay, do we need to table that or we can just leave that off the table?
Don't
we-
need to table it.
Okay, so no motion needed to retable. Let's see here. That brings us to liaison reports. Council.
Village Council. Okay, well, we had a meeting. We applied for this last month, we applied for the National Resources Trust Fund grant. So we put another park grant in place, which we're applying for in April, I believe, and which would be effective 22-23 calendar year. And it'd be for a 50-50 match. So if it was $100,000 grant, which we would get from DNR, and we would have to match it with another 100,000. So that could be a big improvement for Claire Miller or Parks. We applied for the Canadian Goose program, Canada Goose program, which we update every 5 years. Last one was done in 2016 as far as 2016 for resolution. So we moved forward with that and approved that for the next 5 years. We approved a contract with Zambelli for the fireworks this summer for Tiki Night. Village is gonna kick in $7,500, and the onwards and upwards is gonna kick in $12,500. So we're gonna hopefully have a $20,000 display this year with everything in hopes it moves
Awesome.
forward. Authorized
Very
tiki
cool.
candle purchase. We looked into a sign for Clara Miller Park for the entrance over by the Veterans Memorial, since we really didn't have any park signage over there. And that's pretty much it. Just one other announcement, Easter Bunny Lunch is this weekend. They're doing a drive-through at Clara Miller Park. I probably stole Parks and Rec Jim's thunder there. Sorry about that, Jim. You can finish the rest of it off as far as that goes in Parks and Rec, so. That's it from me. We are also looking for administrator yet. I mean, a treasurer, sorry. We just got the administrator, so. We're trying to get a new treasurer though. So we're moving forward on a search for that, so. That's it, I'm done.
Okay.
You just want me to go?
Sure.
Okay. Well,
Sorry, I was muted. Go ahead, Parks and Rec.
okay, I just didn't want to speak out of turn. The April meeting for Parks and Rec is tentatively scheduled to actually meet in person at the Clara Miller Park. So if it's allowed through COVID restrictions and so on. May 1st is the deadline for the brick orders. And June 13th is the dedication ceremony of the Veterans Memorial at 11 a.m., which I believe is a Sunday. But other than that, Brian stole all my thunder.
And I too do apologize, I'm sorry.
No, you did better than I would have. but you're fine.
Okay, thank you very much. That brings us to ZBA.
Isn't that Kathy?
That
Yeah, our
is
ZBA rep
Kathy.
isn't here.
I'm
That's Kathy.
sorry. Okay, how about Water Management Board?
Okay. Yes, thank you. We had Chief Ellsworth attend our meeting last month. Just kind of reported, we wanted to, he visits us once a year. We talk about safety and things going on. We kind of front loaded him this year because of the incident that happened where we had the loss of life for the snowmobiler. He did indicate that last year was kind of a banner year for us. The Officer Grunwald wrote 54 tickets last year on the lake, which is a lot of tickets comparatively. He said close to 90% of those citations were from people that weren't Wolverine Lake folks. They're people that come here from other places and, you know, don't understand how we do things. They don't read the signs. So we also asked him about signage and participating in safety classes. And he said he'd do both. He'd consider doing both of those. Said any signage we do needs to have the wording from, approved by the state before he puts it up, but he'd help with that. We also talked with him about the opportunity maybe downstream of in May of 2022, reviving the Boater Safety Fair. This is before my time, but I understand they used to have a pretty well-attended Boater Safety Fair where they'd have all sorts of demonstrations and life jackets and all sorts of neat stuff, and people were encouraged to be safe on the boats. So
We did that for a couple of years, yeah, I was part of that, so.
yeah, so
That was
we're
a good
thinking
program.
of pulling. I understand it was a pretty successful program, and we maybe we would want to do it every year, but we'll try it again in 2022 after COVID's behind us, hopefully.
That'd be great.
Yeah. We are cognizant of the newsletter coming up. We're trying to pull something together. Scott, we're trying to pull something together on the SAD. And we were ready to pull the trigger, but Tabitha had an issue. We were going to be advertising on the website this past weekend, but they're a little shorthanded at the village offices right now, and we will get on that as soon as we can. It'll be advertised on the website. And depending on whether or not COVID restrictions continue at the village offices, they don't know if they're going to get new dictates to where they'll be able to do something other than appointment only. But I've talked to a couple of folks on the Water Management Board, and what we might try to do instead of trying to go door to door with petitions is pull a couple shifts on weekends there. The village office is under a tent. And if people want to come and sign up for the SAD, we'll have information for them and petitions and that sort of thing. So there's been quite a bit of chatter about it on social media. So we're hoping to kind of strike while the iron is hot and move that ball forward.
Hey,
The only,
Paul, on that subject,
yeah,
on that sad sad subject.
that's a good way of looking at it.
I'm sorry. Could it be advertised on that big village sign that's on the
Yeah.
corner there of Glengarry?
It can be. And when we launch the campaign, that's what we're hoping. Tabitha said she has control of those boards, so we'll come up with something that doesn't monopolize the information, but at least let people know that it's going on and point them in a direction where they can find more information.
Perfect.
When we do go on the website, there's just going to be a blurb. Apparently, she's got a picture of a grinder pump. You know, the little green heads that everybody has that has this. That'll be on the picture, and then you'll be able to go deeper into the website by clicking on different things. If you want to know what grinder pumps do, or if you want to know what the petition looks like, or, you know, depending on what you want to know, you'll be able to find out by going deeper instead of having a thing that you got to scroll through 12 pages. The only other thing we're looking at, we're kind of toying with apparently Wolverine Lake got its name in 1922. Apparently it got its name after it became a man-made lake. I don't know. Brian, you're muted.
Yep, I know they were damming it up in 21, so yeah, it was
Okay.
probably finished around 22.
Yeah, so we're looking at having some sort of trying to drum up enthusiasm for a centennial celebration for Wolverine Lake for 2022. So
I don't know why did it state 26 though? There was something.
I
26 on it.
don't know. I don't know if that's when the lawsuits finally dried up or,
Yeah,
you know,
When
to
they
clarify
incorporate
that.
the village?
I'm sorry.
actually,
The village
ahead,
wasn't incorporated until like the 50s, was it?
56, yeah.
Yeah.
56, yeah.
Right. This was
Yeah,
just when they say this is when the lake got its name.
Hey, we'll take any excuse to party.
I just want to be a part of it all.
Sure.
Brian, you're still muted, buddy.
Yeah, there we go again. If we dig back in the historical records, you know, back from the historical committee, I'm sure that they would have something on that
Yeah,
for
we're
sure.
looking at that. Yeah,
Yeah.
cool. That's all I got.
Okay, thank you very much. Any announcements?
I have one.
Okay,
You guys are gonna love this. If you hit your space bar, so if you're muted,
Yep.
hold down your space bar and you can unmute
Temporarily.
temporarily.
Yeah.
You all knew this.
I
Okay.
found that out. I just found that out tonight, but I didn't. I used it once and I forgot about it again. so-
Okay, all right. I
Yep,
thought
thank you
maybe-
though.
I
Pretty
thought
cool,
it was
eh?
spreading great information.
My
Yeah, that
phone has
was-
no space bar.
I always
was-
like to hear it again, Sally, so that's fine.
It makes you feel better. I didn't know that.
I didn't know either, Sally, so.
Brandon.
I just
Okay,
found out
okay.
tonight.
Yeah, just one thing I wanted to say real quick before we adjourn. I really think we have a really strong board, and all your input tonight was fantastic. And, you know, we butted horns on issues and stuff like that, but that's exactly what we're supposed to do. And I think we've got the best planning commission board that we've ever had pieced together right now. And I want to thank everybody for their time and dedication. You know, it was a tough meeting, a long meeting, and you got your families and things to do, but I just want to thank everybody, including you too, Sally. And I'm ready for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
Hey, Sally, could you hold on a minute? Sally,
Yes,
could you hold on? I just want to, after we adjourn, that's fine.
you know,
Okay.
Scott, why don't you call me in the morning?
Well, this is just a really quick thing about the survey. I thought, you know how we're doing these Zoom meetings? Maybe people like attending that way better. Maybe just ask them about the Zoom meetings in some way or another. That's all.
I don't think we can do this on a regular basis though. I mean, according to the legislature,
Well, the Open Meetings Act.
Open Meetings Act, yeah.
They did not amend it, but there is a provision in the Open Meetings Act that if there is a standing state of emergency, you
Right.
can continue these electronic meetings. And Oakland County issued a state of emergency, I believe, until later this year, if not till the end of this year. I don't know the specifics about the Oakland County state of emergency. I know Washtenaw County did it. And then I do know certain local units of government specifically did it for themselves. But
Well, I was
so we
actually
can-
not talking about us being on Zoom, but maybe people being able to view it on Zoom or something. I don't know how that would work, but just something that we could ask them about.
View the survey?
Well, just ask them about it on the survey, whether they enjoy attending the meetings via Zoom or something. I don't know, just an idea.
Well, I mean, at that point, we'd have to videotape all the board and commission meetings, you're saying.
Or have just some kind of a live view or something of us that they could call into and maybe ask questions. I don't know if it's technically possible. I just wondered how people felt about it.
You know, Scott, that is an interesting question. A lot of people are interested in knowing how these public meetings are going to move forward. But we are completely at the mercy, essentially, of the legislature. We have to follow the Open Meetings Act.
Right.
And as soon as the states of emergency are over, we're going to have to do it however the state tells us to do it. And it is unlikely that they're going to be doing anything in the near future. But they have had a lot of comments from people asking that they allow hybrid meetings where you guys could be in a room, you know, having your regular meeting. Someone could attend in person, or they could get on their computer or their phone and watch the meeting and still be able to participate that way. But that's going to require a change in the law.
Right.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about, the hybrid meeting.
Yeah.
Thank you. And
Okay.
do we need a
I
roll
think we
call?
have a
to adjourn?
motion by Nedrow, seconded by Mr. Thorne. I guess we need a roll call vote.
Thorne,
Here.
Clark,
Yes.
Fredericks,
Yes, goodbye.
Height,
Yes.
Linman,
Yes.
Nedrow,
Yes.
Snyder,
Yes.
Motion carries. I'll say it.
Motion